So I think we've had an awful lot of food for thought here. It's been a very interesting discussion. In conclusion, I'd like to sort of invite each of you to sort of, give us, I guess, some examples or some thoughts on the reasons to be optimistic, because it seems that a lot has been actually achieved, and there seems to be a lot of optimism around this table. So I just wanted to sort of, highlight sort of, what advances, whether it's sort of scientific, commercial, or regulatory, that we can look forward to in the orphan disease space sort of over the next few years. We'll start again with you, Theresa.
I think one of the real reasons to be very optimistic, and I am very optimistic about the future, is that first of all, there's so much work that needs to be done. So if we keep focused on that, then I'm absolutely sure we will make progress. I think there's a lot of scientific progress that's happening now, and I think there's going to be increasing momentum. We talked a little bit about the whole area of genetics and personalized medicine, and I think as our understanding in many of those areas increases, then I think we're going to find more and more solutions for patients with rare diseases. And I think we're also seeing the beginning of some really good outcomes from the collaboration that we've talked about. Collaboration as we talked around access, pricing, and reimbursement, some harmonization around the guidelines around biomarkers. And so I'm very optimistic that if we, in partnership with patient organizations, with others in industry, with physicians and academic centers, that we'll continue to see real progress in the field.
Well, I'm very optimistic because I think we have learned a great deal about rare disorders. There's a great deal we don't know about rare disorders, but those that we are learning about now have really been pioneers in knowledge and expansive knowledge. And I think that inviting patients at the table and keeping in mind that this is about a human being whose life can be changed by the things that we're doing encourages partnership, incentivizes all of us to make sure that we break down barriers in order to deliver drugs to these kids and the people that are affected by rare disease. So I'm very optimistic because I think we're in an arena where the opportunity is there, people are interested in taking advantage of that opportunity, and patients are very willing to have the therapies.
At the risk of sounding like a broken record after my previous two speakers, but I'm also very optimistic as a matter of fact. And on the one hand, indeed, there is a scientific progress. We know more and more about the human genome than ever before. On the other hand, we have more players entering the field, the orphan space, which indeed traditionally was played in by very few players. So we have more players coming into the field, which will lead to more understanding about the specifics of this space, which is, I think, great news for patients, specifically on the Duchenne field. More than ever now, there are companies working in the Duchenne space. Prosensa is currently, together with GSK, in the last phase of development, phase 3 clinical trials with the compound, and hopefully that will lead to a real solution for patients one day. So I'm very optimistic as well.
Well, who can fail to be optimistic? I mean, there are so many reasons to be optimistic, and I don't want to repeat things that have been said already. I think the fact that we have strong regulatory frameworks that we've built on over the past years. I think the fact that there is a huge and growing interest in this space that's witnessed not just by the number of companies that are coming into the space, but also by this huge policy focus. The governments are focused on orphan drugs and rare diseases, really in a way and at a level and at a coordinated level that we've never seen before. So I think we stand a chance of seeing some real advances being made. And I think also another reason to be very optimistic is around the area of international collaboration. So we've got the International Rare Disease Research Consortium, which was set up very recently, and it's now going to have, I think, its 3rd or 4th meeting in Montreal coming up. And this has a very, very ambitious program. But the idea is really to bring from across the globe researchers and patients and companies and academics to really put their brains together and start trying to solve some of the challenges that we still face. So I think while I'm optimistic that we've got more than 70 positive opinions here in Europe, That means more or less 55 diseases treated. It means that we've got, I can't do the maths, but there are still several thousand diseases to go. But the political will is there. The players are increasingly entering the space, and the science is moving in that direction. So I think with the payers and the patients on our side, I don't see how we can fail to be successful.
I agree with everyone's points, and it won't come as any surprise that I'm also optimistic. But I think that the evidence is there that there's already been successes, and I think that's key. From the developmental point of view, as going back to what we started off the discussion with pharmaceutical companies restructuring so that they have the capacity to have this entrepreneurial approach, developing drugs, having the long-term commitment to rare diseases. That's happening. That's evident. You've got success stories of patient advocacy groups that have helped patients gain, working with companies to gain reimbursement for these high-price medicines. There are, again, success stories there. So there's so much evidence, and I think the outlook's very positive. So.
Well, thank you very much for your participation.